Welcome back to Gaming with Boards. I'm your host.
He's handsome.
Today we're talking about Fabled Fruit's fantastic flippant game called Fear. It's a Fabled Forage foray into the world of fear.
Oh, I like that.
What kind of? Actually, this is a Fables game, and you look like you could use a Fables game. You say, what is a Fables game? Well, a Fables game, unfortunately, I can't tell you too much about it. It's a system, you see. Friedman Freeze came up with a system, 3 different games in a row with this fast forward system. You got 1, 2, and 3. And yes, he loves the color green, and yes, he loves using his initials as the letters, but you know, it makes me wonder about 504. Did he in fact decide on 9 times 8 times 7? And it just happened to be 504. He's like, no, we're going to call this game 504, and we don't know what we want the game to be. But anyway, that's regardless. Fear, Fortress, and Flee. These are the Fabled System Fast Forward series. So what does Fast Forward mean? Well, it's a quick playing game. Are these games the same thing, just reskinned? Absolutely not. It may seem that way, except notice here is Fast Forward 1, Fast Forward 2, Fast Forward 3. Does that matter that you played them in that order? Absolutely not. They don't really have anything to do with each other other than the fact they're 3 fast playing games that start with the letter F by Friedman Freeze in a green box by Stronghold Games, and that's about it. They're basically quick and dirty versions of types of games. For instance, let's look first at Fear. Fear is kind of a card-laying, not trick-taking game, because you're actually trying to not take cards. The problem is I can't tell you a whole lot about this, because if you played Fabled Fruit, you'll know that there's a lot of spoilery stuff to this. So I can't tell you too much, you watcher at home, about this. But Fear, for instance, you take cards in your hand, and you can either draw a card, or you can lay a card down. That's it. But due to the Fabled system that works in a Legacy-esque sort of way, you'll draw rule cards. The deck is set in a predetermined order, which may bother some people because they go, wait a minute, if I'm sitting in this seat, that means I'm going to be playing this player. Not necessarily, because there are options. You can either draw a card or play a card on your turn. So technically, you could throw off that whole predetermined order thing pretty easily. But Fear, you take cards in your hand, you play them down, you try to keep the count under 15. There are plenty of rules that come in and change that later on, but that's basically the goal. You try to keep this count below 15. If you force somebody to go out, or if they go out, everybody else wins. You put the cards back in that you didn't keep or something like that. I can't tell you too much about it because it's a spoiler. You take those cards, you stick them in the box, and then you keep playing through the rest of the deck. The deck's about this thick. You just play through it all the way until the game is done. And then the best part is you put them on the fire and you burn them. No, of course not. You start over and play it again, but you can do it randomly this time. You can change the order up a little bit, except keep the rule cards in there. But it's fun in that sense that it's a, you don't know what you're going to expect from these games. So that's Fear, kind of a multiplayer game that involves playing against each other in a quick card-laying mechanic. Is the theme heavy? Absolutely not. But that doesn't matter so much for this one. Fear Fortress, on the other hand, is Volume 2 in this series, and I'll show you all 3 of these games here in a little bit. Volume 2 here actually is a little bit different. This is more of a tower defense game. That's right, tower defense in a box that looks like this. You are playing against your fellow people, and they have fortresses that you're trying to take, and you have fortresses in the middle of the table that people are trying to get. The way you do this is you have certain minions and monsters that you use. You get a certain number up, and it's kind of not necessarily bluffing, but almost to the point of you have to know exactly how much to attack. And again, I can't tell you that much about these. You say, Brian, why are you talking about them if you can't tell us that much about them? Because the price tag and the speed of the way these plays is enough for you to just trust me and try these games. Fortress, cool idea. You play against everybody else in a sort of towery defense sort of thing. So if that's your bag, if you like the idea of, well, I have my minions over here and I know that I need to attack that fortress with this number of minions, and the rules keep changing, the rules keep getting heavier and heavier, more things get added, more things get taken away, more twists kind of happen. If you're enjoying playing Charterstone, this is a cool idea for the whole, you know, things change in the middle of it. And so Fabled Fruit has been doing this for a while. But last but not least is Flee. Now this one is a totally different take. This is a co-op game in which all 4 of you are sat around a table, and I can tell you this much because it's the first card you draw. A monster is chasing you. You have to keep this monster out of your play area during your turn. At the start of your turn, if that monster's there, you lose. So your goal is to not start the turn with that monster in your play area. And so you play other cards to help manipulate that monster around the table to where it doesn't end up being in someone's play area at the start or the end of their turn, whichever one it is. It's a really cool concept. Of the three, this is my favorite just because that idea is so much different. It's a co-op game in which you're trying to stop this monster from attacking you. So it's a really neat idea, and I really like that. So that's the Fast Forward series. You say, Brian, that's not a whole lot of information. Let me just show you some of the art, and if you want to worry about spoilers, just note that some of this might be a little spoilery, but I'm going to show you the art here of this game. If I can open the box, because wow, that's really slow. So, do not shuffle these cards. Very first thing it says, right? I'm going to show you what some of these monster cards look. So if you don't want to see it, just notice it. So notice that the score is compounded. So you would see the monsters there compounded. The more you have of these types of monsters of the same type, the better you'll do against your enemies. And like I said, many rules happen. Things like this happen. It says, interrupt play. Immediately read the text at the back of this card. I'm not going to show you what it says, but it's some different rules that show you how to play the game. When you open this box, there's no instruction booklet. This is the instruction booklet. You open it up, the top card says turn over this card and start reading the text. So it's actually really exciting in that you don't even know what you're going to get. Flee, a little bit different story, right? This is the one that was a kind of a card laying game, change directions, Uno style type game. Where you're just playing cards that look like this. Cute, right? Keeping that thing rolling, but again, multiple rules that change in the middle of the game that totally throw it off. Last but not least is Flee. This one's really cute. It's kind of an Alice in Wonderland based thing with a monster, so it's a little bit different there, but different things happen like this. So you've got your art, I'll show you real fast. Final warning, boom, don't even look. Here's a monster and stuff like that. So you're trying to just keep this monster moving around the table. I really like that concept. So that is the Fabled series, Fast Forward series from Freedman Freeze and Stronghold Games. Thanks for watching today. You've been a wonderful crowd. See you next time. And go do something with your life. What else is on? Huh. This looks eerily familiar. Oh, hey, thanks for stopping by. Welcome to the Gaming Corner. It's a game about solo gaming, solitaire. Because some of you, like me, every once in a while, you just want to be left alone. You're tired of your boss being on your back. Maybe your parents telling you to get a job or not get a job or give them some of your money, It's one of those things where someone's always constantly breathing down your neck and you just like a little bit of peace and quiet away from people, but that doesn't always happen because that project has to be done by 3 o'clock. And of course, sorry, I apologize. Welcome to the Solo Gaming Corner. It's a solitaire corner. Sometimes you can be solitaire. Taking a look today at Finished by Freedman Freeze. That's right, his name starts with F's and he called the game Finished and it's got green. It's a bit of a motif. A motif is something that is used multiple times to create a theme or to strengthen a theme. Freedman Freeze apparently likes his initials and his color green. Freedman Freeze is Finished is a bit of a game in which you are playing solo. It's actually a solo game. In fact, it says solo gaming redefined or something like that. It says it's on the back here. It says, it says it's somewhere anyway. But it is only a solo game. Plays in 10 plus. Ages 10 plus, 30 minutes. It even says 1 on the outside of the box. Now, why does it intrigue me? Well, the very front of the box says flip book included. Well, if you're a child of the 90s, that should just make you excited right there. This one does come in the rule book. It is not part of the Fable system. It's got its own rule book. The deck is set up in the same way, though, as the Fabled system, as the games you might have seen on another channel of the television. The cards are set up like this in the deck in a certain order. You can shuffle them later. It gives you rules about restarting the game, but they're set up in a certain way for you to just kind of play through the first time. So you just kind of open up the box and you really just kind of read the rules real fast and start playing. You have certain past, present, and future areas that you lay your cards out. If you don't want to look at these, you don't have to, but it's not really spoilery in that sense. Your present cards are the cards that you're currently trying to play. Notice the cards have numbers on them: 43, 22, 47. While they also look like a digital clock, and they also have, candy at the bottom of them, that is actually the number of the order of the cards in the stack. Your goal in Finished is to try to take the cards and get them from 1 to 40. I want to say it's 48. Could be 40. I want to say it's 48, 47 or 48. But the idea is, once you're done, you take it and you flip through, and you get a really cool flip book story. Now, there's a couple different things about it that I really love. First of all are the components here. You get coffee mug meeples. I know they're not called meeples if they're not people. I get it. Angry. Stop being so angry. I probably just got a thumbs down for that. I'm sorry. I'm not sorry. Don't be so angry. Also, candy. Look at this. Little wooden pieces of candy that you could possibly eat and forget that they're actually candy, but that's how cute they are. The whole point of this is your candy and your mugs are a bit of a timer. When you run out of coffee, the game is over no matter what. But your candy is kind of, in a sense, your workers for the bit of a worker placement actions that are involved. That's right, there's a little bit of worker placement mechanics to this. Notice on the cards on the bottom it has a cost of candy. To activate this card's ability, you have to pay the cost, so that would be a candy. These give you a candy out of your stash. So your job, basically, you're trying to stay awake to finish a project throughout the end of the day, and I think that's a cool concept. So you pay the candy, you do the card task, you can move certain cards down here to your past, you can move certain cards into the future, and all these sort of things. And once they're into the past, you have to keep them in the same order you left them in. That mechanic is a little bit tenuous, the theme of, but the idea is neat. You're taking the cards, you're trying to order them in a very cool solitaire game. And then you're rewarded with a multimedia flip book at the end. I think that's a really cool concept. It's solo gaming that's fast. As you're not playing Gloomhaven, you're not playing Mansions of Madness second edition. You're quickly taking this box off the shelf and you're laying the cards out and you're going, I'm gonna brain through this puzzle right now. Hopefully I get a better score than last time. You know, that way it doesn't tell you like the little triangle puzzle, you're an ignoramus or something like that. So that's finished by Friedman Freeze. Definitely think you should check this out, just because if you like solo gaming, this is really well put together, and it's cute the way it's kind of tongue-in-cheek, the flip book and all that sort of stuff. I like that. I think that's a cool concept. And the art style, while I don't like the character art style that much, I do really like the way it looks like a computer screen and all that sort of stuff. Even this, the box itself looks like a computer screen. The font is really neat. I think it's really cool. I think Finished is a game you're going to enjoy and want to check out. So that's Finished by Friedman Freeze in Stronghold Games. Again, Bonnicore, just, he knows what he's doing. The dude is smart. Good business guy, but even more so, Friedman Freeze is really putting out a lot of great games over the years. And so this Fabled system is great, but also the Finished game here is really cool. So that's Finished by Friedman Freeze in Stronghold Games. What else? Hey, welcome back to the table, literally. You're probably all aware that Fabled Fruit is a fantastically fun game from Friedman Freeze. Yes, I know I did that joke earlier, or did I? This is a different channel. That was weird. From Friedman Freeze from Stronghold Games about fruit, but what kind of game is it? It's a card game. Is it though? Is it just a card game? No, it's not, and that's what's beautiful. You don't actually play it like a card game, kind of. You play it like a worker placement game with a lot of action space. So it's almost like Uwe Rosenberg created it because there's that many action spaces. At any one point you'll have, not a bit of a spoiler to tell you that, the first game is number 6, and then after that, from then on for a while, it's 24. Now there are some rule cards that will come into play later on the more you play down through the stack, but it's kind of a cute game in which you lay out locations and you take your meeple. I'll just show you here. I don't want to show you too much again because the whole system is very dependent on the fact that there are secrets. But you take your cute little animal meeples here. You've got a penguin, a turtle, a sheep, a giraffe, and a snake. These are pretty awesome. You go to these different locations and they'll say things like, well, request one fruit type, request one type of fruit, and then reveal 5 fruits from the stack. Take all the matching fruits in your hand and place the remaining fruits in the market. Your job is to get the fruits required at the bottom of this card or any of the location cards that are active, and then go there and pay those fruits based on the cards that you have, the fruit cards you have in your hand. Once a person gets a certain amount of fruit juices made, they win the game, and that's what's great. You just play down through this deck. You don't shuffle the cards, you play down through the deck until you finish, and then you can kind of restart and start it over again. But today we're talking about the Lime expansion, because the Lime expansion, while it does play exactly like the other one, it adds some very cool mechanics that I want to talk about. Again, I don't want to go through and spoil anything because I want you to kind of get the surprise of it, but I want to talk about what it does add. For one thing, it adds some really cool tokens. You get these gambling tokens, the raincoat tokens, 20 new locations, I believe, and then the Lime cards. And the Lime cards, it explains what they do in the rules, but what I wanted to talk about with these new tokens that it adds that I really like. One is the invisibility cloak. You know, one of the rules is when you go to a location that someone else is, you have to pay them a fruit to go there. Invisibility cloak means that you go there, you don't have to pay them a fruit. The other one are gambling tokens. One of the locations requires you to, well, doesn't require you, when you go there, you can spend as many tokens as you want, gambling tokens, and the gambling tokens that you spend flip up cards, and you're able to spend the cards that are flipped up towards the fruit juice you're trying to make. So it's a really cool expansion. You say, Brian, that didn't seem like it added a whole lot to the game. Trust me, it does. Did you see the deck of different locations? All of these divided by 4, obviously, because there's 4 of each, I believe. Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4. All of these divided by 4 is how many new locations there are, plus the line cards, plus the gambling cards, plus whatever secret little crazy little rule things they added in here from the different locations in here. So if you like Fabled Fruit, this is more of the same in a good way. Fabled Fruit plus the Lime expansion, it's kind of the way to play. You know, you get so many locations now with this that you just, it's such a fun game. I'm not gonna lie. I thought when I played Fabled Fruit, I was gonna be like, okay, yeah, it's all right. But then we played the first game and we were like, hey, let's do that again. Played the second game. Hey, wait, let's do that again. Played the third game, we're like, all right, let's keep going. And then we finally had to quit based on time, but it's one of those things where it gets progressively different the more you play, but not in the legacy style. And that's what's so great about Fabled Fruit is it's a worker placement game at its heart that changes and gets crazier and crazier and crazier, kind of like Charterstone in a sense, right? It gets crazier and crazier and crazier the more you go. So that's Friedman Freese's Fabled Fruit and the Lime expansion. You really need to get the Lime expansion. I'm assuming if you have Fabled Fruit already, you're probably going to check out the Lime expansion because it is more of Fabled Fruit. If you love Fabled Fruit, you're going to love the Lime expansion. Can't say enough about it there. So that's Fabled Fruit and the Lime expansion from Stronghold Games. Oh man, who said this was nothing good on TV? Although that did kind of feel like the president in 1976. He's on every channel, that same person. Although he said he was on 3 different shows, that's hard to understand. But hey, if you made it to the end of this video, thank you for watching. It was crazy, but I just wanted to show you that there's a bunch of games using this concept, this system, this whole Fables concept, but you can't really talk about them because the secrecy of them, the unexpected, is what makes them fun. So it's kind of hard to give you a review of a game that I can't talk about that much, but are they worth it? They are. They really are fun. The weakest one, if you ask me, is probably Fortress, not because the mechanics are weak, but because it's just, of the 3, it's my least favorite of the types of games to play. I really like Fear. I like that kind of fast Uno-y feel, even though I don't really like Uno that much. And don't take it that it's just like Uno, it's not. But I like Fear, and I like Flee. I like the way you progress through the deck and it gets different. I mean, they all do that, but that was really fun. And then Finished is a really cool single-player game, and I like the way it feels like worker placement or action placement by placing those candies out. They do a really good job of that. Fabled Fruit, you know what you're getting there. It's a great game, you know, top to bottom, fantastic game. Do I wish that it had resource cubes instead of cards? Yeah, probably, but that's not really a big gripe, you know, because it makes the game a little tidier, a little easier to transport, and a little less to set up. You just set it out and boom. But, you know, cubes in a bag would be cool too, especially with the fruit. You know, you got those nice meeples and all that stuff. So that's Fabled Fruit and the Lime expansion. So excellent stuff from Stronghold Games. These are fun and fast games. You know, I review heavy games all the time too, but these are fun, fast games that you can check out for a different style of pace. So thanks for watching. This is Bryan Drake with the latest retro. Hopefully you enjoyed this crazy, zany video and all that stuff. I'm sure there's some thumbs downs, but hey, you know what? Thank you for even coming and giving me a view. So until next time, make sure to follow us on Twitter down here. And again, I'm Bryan Drake with the latest retro on the Dice Tower. See you next time.
Thanks so much for watching the Dice Tower videos. Find more great videos and reviews as well as our top-rated audio podcast at Dicetower.com. You can also find other great shows at Dicetowernetwork.com. I'm Eric Summerer, and you've been watching The Dice Tower. The Dice Tower is sponsored by Cool Stuff Inc., where you can find great games for great prices. Cool stuff in stock. Check them out at CoolStuffInc.com.